Thank you very much for coming today. This is an important event. And as you can see from the video, there is a real face to investment fraud in the country. And just for all of you, my name is Nick Gerhardt. I am the Insurance Commissioner for the state of Iowa. And I want to say thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and listen to this. It is important. As you can imagine, anybody, anywhere can be a victim of investment fraud. And we've profiled one person here in the state of Iowa, and Martha Jo Ennis is with us this morning. And her story is very similar to the one we just heard. Somebody had come into her home, and she met this person, trusted the person, and was a victim. So one of the things that I really want to stress is that this can happen to anybody. It can happen to you. It can happen to your loved one. I've been in the life insurance, annuity business, securities business for 10 years before I took this job. And I can tell you unequivocally across the country, there are swindlers out there that are willing to do whatever it takes to get your trust, to make sure that you're not going to ask any questions. And so really what we want to do here is we want to profile the resources at the state level, what it is that's available to Iowans at the state level, at the insurance department. But we also have representatives who are going to say some remarks from the Department of Aging, our SHIP unit, and the Attorney General's office. And we hope that you will get something out of this so you know that when you're going to make these important investment decisions, you double check. Take time to call my office, see if this person is a licensed producer in good standing. I think that's always smart. Go to our iowafraudfighters.gov website. You all have these stickers, and really what we want you to do is, the takeaway today is go to the website and learn about what resources are available for you and your family. And again, the Insurance Division website is another great resource to go to. So www.iid.state.ia.us is a great resource for you and your family to look at. What I want to stress, though, is the investment world is very complicated. So the concept of fraud, it's not just somebody coming in and stealing your money. Yes, that's fraud, but there are other aspects of fraud that you may not even understand or know that's happened until it's too late. So, and I say all that just to warn you all, but I also want to stress there are a lot of good producers out there, a lot of good investment folks that do have your best interest at heart. So, in this world where we're kind of on our own for our retirement planning, our retirement savings, I like to call the generation that's coming up as the yo-yo, you're on your own generation. So this is only going to intensify across the country, in my opinion, that people are going to come in and they're going to say, well, here's someone with a large pot of money. What can we do with it? And maybe it's not stealing your money, but maybe it's putting you in some very inappropriate investments too. So my goal is I want folks to take the time to learn a little about their insurance, their investments in particular, and know what resources are available to all of you. So again, I appreciate you coming. We're going to have some other folks from some state agencies make some remarks, and then we're going to be available to answer some questions for you. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Chris Gross from our SHIP office.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Gross, and I'm the director of the Senior Health Insurance Information Program with the Iowa Insurance Division. And SHIP has been part of the Insurance Division for 23 years, and when it was started back in 1990, the reason it was started was because of misrepresentation, fraud, and abuse that was happening in the Medicare supplement and long-term care insurance market. And since then, we've expanded and grown to where we deal with all types of Medicare questions and problems, and we have local counselors at over 100 sites. We have 375 counselors around the state that are available to help you as you have questions and problems. And every day we work with the Insurance Division staff to help people who have problems and with Medicare, with health insurance, fraud, abuse, and misrepresentation. The theme for this is shield your savings. And while Medicare and health insurance isn't a security, I think it's a really important investment that you're making. And it has, your health and well-being is an important investment. And so I think protecting your health dollars is important. And today, it just so happens that we're kind of at an important time in the year, And I want to focus on three particular things that are very timely to what's going on right now and where we've gotten calls and questions from beneficiaries around the state who have had problems. The first one has to do with the new health insurance marketplace. We're starting to get calls from folks. And the thing that you really need to understand is that the marketplace was created for people who don't have insurance. And people on Medicare have insurance. The marketplace was not designed, for people that are on Medicare and have a Medicare supplement insurance policy. You need to be wary of anyone who suggests that you change your coverage because of the marketplace. I got an email at home last night from a friend who's been hounded by people calling her saying, well, with the changes with the Affordable Care Act and the marketplace, there's changes to Medicare and you need to be looking at your insurance. The changes to Medicare do not have anything to do with affecting your Medicare supplement coverage. If you get those kind of calls, please call SHIP. We have magnets out on our table out in the lobby, and we will work with the insurance division staff to investigate that and make sure that people are not misrepresenting to you and helping you see things in a different way than they should be seen, because Medicare is not changing. At least Medicare health insurance is not changing as part of the Affordable Care Act. The second thing that is important right now is that while the marketplace is starting their initial enrollment period October 1st, Medicare is starting its annual open enrollment October 15th through December 7th. And this is a time when anybody can change their Medicare drug coverage or Medicare Advantage plan. And it's important to take advantage of that time to make sure you have coverage that's going to meet your needs for the next year. But, as just with the marketplace, it's also an opportunity for people who want to take advantage of the situation. And they will commit fraud and take advantage of you trying to make the best choice. Because of this, Medicare established some specific rules related to the marketing of Medicare Advantage and Part D plans, and you need to know those rules to protect yourself and your money. The first, I'm not going to go through all of them, just a couple, but the one that's really important to understand is that for Medicare Part D, which is the drug coverage, and Medicare Advantage plans, you cannot be cold called. And what that means is somebody can't just call you up on the phone and talk to you about Part D or Medicare Advantage. You have to invite them to call you. So if somebody just calls you out of the blue, that is prohibited. Another thing that's prohibited is somebody just coming up to your door and knocking on your door and saying, I want to talk to you about Medicare Part D or Medicare Advantage. That is specifically prohibited. If that happens, if either of those things happen, please call us. Get the name of the person, the date and time, who they're representing, and again, SHIP has a relationship with the insurance division and the Medicare regional office in Kansas City to investigate all of those reports of people violating Medicare regulations. The second thing that's prohibited is that somebody who comes to talk to you, if you have actually invited someone into your home to talk about Medicare Part D or Medicare Advantage, they can only talk to you about that. They cannot try and sell you life insurance or property casualty insurance or anything else. So if they do, again, that's something that should get reported because that is strictly prohibited. Sometimes it's a legitimate insurance agent who's doing it. Sometimes it's somebody who isn't legitimate. And so if you're in doubt, if you get a mailing, if you get a call, and if you're ever in doubt, please call, and we'll be glad to investigate that for you. And the last thing there's a lot we could talk about with Medicare fraud. I know this is more about security, so I want to limit my comments. But the third thing I want to just remind you, because it breaks my heart when we get these calls at our office. Somebody has been called and the person says, well, we need to verify your Medicare information. Or you're due some money and we need to verify your information. And the person ends up giving them their Medicare number or a bank account number. And sure enough, when they try and call the person back, it's not a legitimate number. And you need to never, ever, ever give out your Medicare number or bank account information to someone unless you've initiated the call. Just be wary this time of year in particular, because there's so much going on with the Medicare changes at this time. It's a hot time. It happens all year long, but this is especially a time when folks are preying on people on Medicare. As I said, you can always call SHIP. We'll work with the insurance division. Another entity that I want you to know about is Senior Medicare Patrol, which is an organization here in Iowa that is charged with fighting healthcare fraud. And they also have a table in the lobby. Shirley Murner. Shirley, where are you at in here? Right back there. Shirley is there representing Senior Medicare Patrol. And whenever we think that there's potential for fraud, we get it reported to the Senior Medicare Patrol. So you'll want to stop and pick up their information also. So again, we're here, SHIP, the Insurance Division, Senior Medicare Patrol. We're all here to help you when it comes to Medicare fraud and abuse, and also the insurance that people purchase to go along with Medicare. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Again, we want to focus on investment fraud, but we felt it very important, given the timing of everything with healthcare and the open enrollment period, to have SHIP present and talk about Medicare, because we are starting to see some very bizarre and maybe even fraudulent marketing scams and materials that are coming into the state of Iowa. So please be on alert. And now we're going to have Kevin McCarthy from the Attorney General's office come up and say a few words too.
Let me, just on behalf of Attorney General Miller, thank Nick Gerhardt for putting this on today, and then thank all of you for coming here. I work for Attorney General Tom Miller, and he would, if he were here, thank you for coming here. Although the fact that you are here probably means that you're already in tune to the common sense that you need to have a heightened awareness to avoid fraud. The fact of the matter is, and I'm telling you what you already know, is that we could talk about prosecutorial remedies or punishments that are, or laws that are available if someone gets abused or defrauded, but that's usually after the fact. The most important thing, obviously, is to have heightened awareness. And so, kind of like if this were a healthcare seminar, you might want to learn about the latest drug or the latest procedure to help with disease. When the fact of the matter is, the best thing to do in healthcare is what, right? Have a better immune system. That's the best thing. You still might get a cough or cold, but to have a better immune system. And so in a sense, you are here today to strengthen your anti-fraud immune system. And that's basically by tapping into what you already have, and that's your common sense. And all I want to just tell you is it's very important to pay attention for these Ponzi schemes and investment schemes. Very important. And there's a lot of stuff going around, and you saw an example of that in the video. The fact of the matter is, and it's very sad, and I don't want to depress you, but the vast majority of financial exploitation that will occur, and it's going to occur to a measurable percentage of people in this room at some point before you pass on, is going to occur from someone that you love, someone that's close to you, and it's going to be someone who has a power of attorney over you, or if it's going to be a son or a daughter. And how do you, that's just a fact. The vast majority. Is that depressing? That is depressing. And how do you deal with that? Well, sometimes you can't, and sometimes it's unavoidable. If someone has wrong in their heart and they wanted to defraud you, and you love them because you trust them, sometimes fraud's going to occur. So the best thing to do is just what? Not have kids, right? But or don't consume or don't own anything of value. Well, that's not going to work. So best thing to do is just try to use common sense in anything that you do, and we all fail in that regard sometimes. Two quick stories in my own little neighborhood last weekend. Guy's going door to door. He's selling security systems for your house. But you got to order now because by Saturday the prices go up, but he goes back to Tennessee anyway on Saturday, so you got to buy now, right? Well, I don't know whether I should have bought that or not. I chose not to buy it. I think I made the right decision, but there is a chance that could have been the best security system I've ever had. But I chose not to buy it. Guy's going door to door. He's selling security systems for your home. You're probably going to have to give financial information. He's not even from Iowa. Chose not to. And I think that's the right thing. Another group of kids come about once a year in the neighborhood, and they say, hey, I used to be involved in gangs, but now I've turned my life around and I've got a class I'm engaged in for public speaking. How am I doing? And he said, well, you're doing pretty good. If you give me money, to sponsor me, I'm able to, if I get so many points, go on a vacation, and it's a reward for me turning my life around. Well, where's the money go? Well, it goes to this guy downtown, and I say, wish him good luck, but I'm not going to give you money. You don't want to support me? I'd love to support you, just not with money. Well, maybe I did wrong by that guy, but I think it's better to err on the side of common sense, because nothing's ever 100% foolproof. I went in to buy a bottle of shampoo recently at a salon. It was at Walmart. I don't know what these things are called. But I walked in to get a bottle of shampoo, and they said, "Can I have your cell phone number, sir?" I go, "What do you need my cell phone number for? I'm buying a bottle of shampoo." It's our store policy. We ask for your cell phone number. Well, you're not going to get my cell phone number. I'm buying a bottle of shampoo. I'm paying cash. Well, sir, we don't do anything with it. Well, somebody's going to do something with it at some point in time, and then you're wondering why you're getting calls from strangers from California or Florida trying to sell you stuff. At any rate, all I can do is encourage you, and what Tom Miller, I think, would tell you to do is if you have a question regarding investments, insurance, you call the insurance division. There'll be somebody there glad to give you their opinion. If you've got a question regarding larger fraud issues or consumer protection, call the Consumer Protection Division. I came up with Al Perales from our office. Al, would you wave? There's a booth in the back. We have all kinds of brochures. There's all kinds of numbers. There's toll-free numbers. If you've got a question, you see Alex Trebek on TV talking about reverse mortgages and how great they are. If you've got a product in front of you like that, call up the AG's office and talk it through. And that's the best thing to do, because maybe it's not the best thing to do to dissipate the biggest asset you have in your waiting years. Unless you don't like the twerps of your kids and you don't want to leave them anything. Maybe that's a good thing to do. At any rate, I'll shut up here. Be available for questions afterwards. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks.
Thank you, Kevin. Those are very good remarks, and I think it is very prudent. Be proactive. That's why we're here, is tell these stories. And again, it can happen to anybody, but having the common sense, the awareness to ask questions and to tell the guy who wants your phone number no, it's probably pretty smart. So, and now we have Donna Harvey, the director from the Department of Aging.
Thank you. And there's not a whole lot I can add to what they said, other than it's good to be back home. And for many of you, you probably know I was the Area Agency on Aging director for almost a quarter of a decade here. So I know that we have informed and active older individuals here, and so I'm not surprised we have a room full. But hopefully what we can ask is that you're going to take what you learned and go back and talk about it at dinner tonight. Go back and talk about it at the store, because 'tis the season, as Chris said, that we're going to be inundated with a lot of information. The area agencies on aging are our local partners, and I want to let you know that they're across the state. You have NEI 3A. Before that, it was Hawkeye Valley Area Agency on Aging, and they are there to really help you with even greater aging issues. And so what I want to make sure you understand, we're all connected. Sometimes I think people think that government is not connected, but we truly are. So if you get a hold of any one of us, we will get you to the right place at the right time. But you heard about Shirley Murner. Shirley Murner's program is always looking for volunteers, so you can go ask her about Medicare fraud. But if you want to help solve some of those issues, I know she's always looking for folks to help that. But how many of you get those Medicare summary notices? Yeah. Do you look at them? Or do you just throw them in a pile and go, oh my gosh, more paperwork? You know what? That's where we all can start helping what's going on. Because you need to make sure, if you did not incur that cost, go back and question it. And Shirley and her staff can help make you better understand. They have some tools and some tricks. And she'll echo a lot of what Chris said on and what you do, particularly during this renewal season. So Shirley, can you stand up so they can see you? Her booth is kind of near the stairwell, so straight out. Then we have Jean Burns and Jean Yordy. Jean Burns is from the Area Agency on Aging. Stand up, Jean. And Jean Yordy is out at the table around the corner. They actually have a database of support and services available to you today, as well as a lot of materials. And I heard Kevin say that power of attorney. How many of you have power of attorneys? We heard a speaker that used to work with Kevin in Polk County, and she said, that is, oh, Jean Yordy, there you are. Wave your hand, Jean. There you go. That is the most dangerous tool that you can place in the hands of people who like to misuse that. And I don't know that they even viciously misuse that, but in my family, My mother-in-law, who is now deceased, was in a nursing home, and all of a sudden, there are 7 kids, so they were really not making good decisions having 7 children in that family. But there were a couple that said, well, we have power of attorney. We can change her doctor. We know she loves him, but we don't. Guess what? You can't do that. So I think if you don't truly understand what that power of attorney, medical power of attorney, the conservatorship, guardianship, there's a lot of tools out on that table that you need to learn about that, because it really is, as Kevin said, it's a growing industry. And how many of you really want to go old and go on Medicaid? Wow. Guess what? That's where we're starting to see major shifts, because you saw the couple that had been scammed by somebody that was supposed to be helping them. That's what's happening in Iowa, and family members are inappropriately using funds and leaving their older loved ones with no choice but to go to Medicaid. So that is another piece that we just need you to understand, that there's a lot of folks that are looking to help you in the right ways, but you always need to keep your eyes open, because sometimes they're not. So in Iowa, we have what's called a dependent adult abuse law. And I will tell you, we are in the midst of working on a legislative task force to design an elder abuse law. And why is that important? Primarily because the definition of the law now is, number one, you have to be older, and number two, you have to be dependent upon somebody as your care. And they have to be a caregiver primarily in your home. So if you have a neighbor that's mowing your lawn, you've developed a relationship, but all of a sudden he starts taking your checkbook, the only thing to do is go through the prosecutorial venue, not abuse. So in Iowa, we're really trying to say we need to start tackling this financial abuse that we see going on and make sure that our laws embrace that. And so the Attorney General's Office, Department of Human Services, the Insurance Commission, there's about probably 15 different state departments that are meeting together, as well as consumers, to tackle that, to look for elder abuse. And our department are charged under federal law to be responsible for elder rights. And that just ensures that we're doing what we want to do, which is to keep all of you active and independent as you grow old. So again, thank you very much for being here, and I think we're now going to turn it over to Nick.
Well, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for attending, and this has been a great event, and it wouldn't have happened without you all taking some time out of your schedules. But again, I want you to be aware, investment fraud happens to the tune of $3 billion at least every year. So when you're sitting there thinking about these decisions, Kevin was right. Build up your immune system. Take time to ask questions and be an informed consumer. Thank you.